Hello, my friends. It's Thanksgiving week, and you know what that means. Mama Mel's gonna be cooking. So today I want to show you how I make my grandmama's recipe of cornbread, southern cornbread dressing. First of all, we have to bake our cornbread. So what I'm using today is, I use Adlu self-rising white cornmeal. Adlu is a local plant here in South Carolina. I live right outside of Columbia, South Carolina. So I use local ingredients when I can. And of course, an onion, celery, butter, eggs, milk, and a little splash of buttermilk, because I like to put a little bit of buttermilk in mine. So what I'm going to do first, I've already got 2 cups of Adlu cornmeal. I think I'm going to do a double recipe today. So I'm going to put 2 more cups into my bowl here. All right, I'm still here with you. You just can't see my face right now. And this is, it's baking, but it's not baking a cake. Because when you bake a cake, you've got to be exact. When you're baking cornbread, you can do a little this and that, okay? Okay, first of all, we can rough chop the celery, because this is what's gonna give your dressing some flavor. To get this started, we're gonna cut up these onions. I've got my trusty iron skillet right here, and we're gonna soften these up and saute them up in a little butter. And I could go ahead and get that actually go ahead and get that started. That's a lot of butter. You can't have too much butter, but I will add this butter to my cornbread mixture, and it's going to be part of the oil that goes into it. So I'm going to put that on the eye and let that start. I cannot wait to get a gas oven, a gas stove. One day. It's on my dream board. All right, I've cut the onion up. And another thing, this onion doesn't have to be precise either. But if you're cutting up an onion, you want to leave your little hairy top on, because that kind of keeps them together. And if you're doing a rough chop, get you a sharp knife, hold it. This is rough chop. And you cut it lengthwise where the little hairy top is up here, and then you just cut it across. Now some people will do, go in the middle a little bit, but this is gonna be sauteed, and it's gonna be really soft. So this is what I call a rough chop. Another good thing about the little hairy part is you can pinch it and hold your onion down. And it's kind of like a little handle that just helps you grip your onion. So I personally love a lot of onion. Now this is just a yellow onion, just a plain yellow onion. Yellow onions are stronger than like the Vidalia, the sweet Vidalia onions. They're a little bit stronger, but see, these aren't way strong, because they're not, I don't know why, but it's not causing me to have crying jag right here. Now I hear everything sizzling over here, so I'm gonna add my onions to it. Oh, one thing I did want to tell you is one of the biggest best kitchen gadgets you can use is a scrunchie. I meant to put my hair up. I am very cautious about shedding on things in the kitchen. So I almost always put my hair back. Okay, now we are sauteing these onions and celery, and we're just sauteing them until they're just soft, okay? And a little bit of butter, a little bit of salt, a little bit of salt will let them sweat. And you want them to sweat a little bit because you want those juices to come out of the celery and the onion. So you let them sweat a little bit until they're just translucent. And then you cut that off. We're not going to cook them to death. Okay, now that I've got my onions and celery sauteed in the butter. Now the recipe on the cornmeal box calls for 3 tablespoons of soft or melted fat. We're doubling the recipe, so it's 4 tablespoons. I've already cooked this in some fat, the butter fat. So I put a little bit more in there. I've got my cornmeal in here, 4 cups of cornmeal. And I'm just putting a little dash, now that looks like a bigger dash than you might want, but of garlic powder. Anytime you add flavor, it's just gonna enhance the dish. Now, it calls for 1.25 cup of sweet milk. That just means regular milk, y'all. This is called sweet milk. Just regular milk. So I'm actually gonna do 1.25 cups of sweet milk. One and a quarter cup of sweet milk. And this is just what I do. I do 1.25 cup of buttermilk. I just love the way buttermilk gives it a richness, gives it a good, rich flavor. I just love it. So I'm gonna put those to the side. I'm through with my milk now. 1.25 cup sweet milk, 1.25 cup buttermilk. So that means we should have 2.5 cups of liquid in there. And then it calls for, if you double the recipe, 2 eggs. These are fresh eggs off my farm from my chickens. Don't you roll off and bust on my foot. Okay. See that fresh egg in there? I'm gonna dump it out like I've done before on my videos. But look how pretty and yellow it is. See how pretty? Can you see that? Now, stir it up. I'll use this spoon here. But look how that pretty dark egg. My onions are sauteed, and I'm just gonna take this and see the fat. That's the butter. It's okay. We use butter around here, y'all. I don't use margarine. Margarine is not healthy. Don't argue with me about butter and margarine. Do not. Everything enjoy yourself during times like this. It's not like you eat like this every single day. You shouldn't eat like this every single day. It's not that part's not healthy. But you let Thanksgiving be a time where you enjoy good food and enjoy your family and enjoy being together. Now it's gonna look a little runny, but that's okay. It is going to be just fine. And that's gonna make a nice big, pan of, or dish of cornbread. So we're gonna pop this in the oven for about, I'm gonna say 20 to 25 minutes, just until it's not jiggly. You don't want to dry it out too much, but you can get by with overcooking cornbread because you're going to add moisture back to it later on. Okay, just bear with me. I'm going to show you how to do this the right way, and it's going to be delicious, and you're going to love it. See you in just a minute. Hey, we're back. All right, now this oven has cooled off somewhat. But for the safety's sake of being on a video, I'll use my pot holders. See, my cornbread has how it turned out perfectly. Actually, I kept looking at it right before the timer went off. I had it set for 20 minutes, but right before the timer went off, about 3 minutes left, I looked at it and I said, So I opened up the oven and I touched it in the top, and it was firm. So that what told me that I needed to take it out. So I took it out and cooled my oven down, and it's been cooling. So hopefully it's cool enough for me to handle it now. Now at this point, you just break up your cornbread. And I like to take a little taste. That's good. Now we're just breaking up our cornbread and putting it in our big bowl. Okay, so now I'm gonna just put this, and you just tear it up. Tear up your cornmeal, tear up your cornbread. We're not cutting it in little squares. All right. I've let it cool off, and see how I'm crumbling my cornbread up with my fingers. It's just gonna be crumbly. Now we are going to moisten this even more with, now we've got this dry cornbread, and what I use a can of cream of celery soup from Campbell's. Let me grab this. Oh, and this is a silicone spatula, so it's not gonna melt. I know I was using it a while ago when I was sauteing the onions and stuff. The silicone does not melt, but you need to make sure, girls, that it's silicone, because it will melt if you don't. This is a double recipe, so I'm doing 2 cans of the cream of celery soup. Now, the other day, I cooked some chicken for I was doing buffalo chicken dip, I think. So I cooked some chicken in the air fryer, I mean, not the air fryer, the Ninja Foodie on the pressure, and I had this broth left over, and I thought that would be great to add to my dressing when I make it this week. So I'm gonna add that broth that I had left over in here, plus another little bit of and y'all, I don't know how to measure. Let's measure it out, okay? I'm just showing y'all how to do it. I put about 1.5 cups. So now we're gonna stir all this up. You don't want it runny because you're not gonna add any egg back to it. You're not gonna add anything that's gonna bind it. The moisture itself is gonna bind it together. It's not going to be cut into blocks, okay? It's gonna be scooped out of the container, of the casserole dish with a spoon. So it's not gonna be cut into blocks like cornbread. So it's okay if it's soft. It's going to be a soft consistency. Now I'm going to taste it. It's perfectly fine. It's cooked. Everything I've put in here after the fact is cooked. So what I'm gonna do, I feel like it needs a little bit of salt. And I'm going to, and it's everything to taste. That's all, that's how, see, that was just that little bit. That's the beauty of cooking and just practicing and doing some things, and you're gonna mess up. It's okay. If at first you don't succeed, try again. I am going to actually put this back in the dish that I had it in. I've resprayed it with my baking spray. Any brand will do. I use olive oil baking spray. And I'm gonna put this mixture. See, it's soft. It's not crumbly anymore. It's soft, but it's not runny, okay? And I'm going to put this back in the dish. And then I bake it until it's nice and golden brown. Nice and golden brown on the top. You have to kind of judge with your ovens. Ovens are vary in temperature. So you just have to watch your oven carefully. But I always set my timer for like 15 minutes, 10 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes. It's better to set it at the lower and then take a look at it, and then you know you got 5 minutes left or whatever. But bake it until it's golden brown, and then serve it with your turkey and your cranberry, jellied cranberry sauce, if that's what you like. But it's a wonderful, wonderful Southern dish that everybody in my household loves to eat at Thanksgiving time. And I hope you try it and let me know how it turned out for you. So I hope you guys have a wonderful Thanksgiving holiday, and reach out to me. I'd love to hear your comments, and follow me, hit subscribe, and follow me for other recipe ideas, okay? I love you guys, and it's been my pleasure to cook with you today. Mwah.